Well, everyone, I am back from filming in Oregon, and I gotta tell you, we have a bunch of amazing videos dropping this month. I cannot wait for you guys to see them, but we're back to the regularly scheduled program. I have a video here from Savannah Hernandez. The video is called Gen Z Hot Takes on Modern Day Problems. We're gonna be digging through it today because there's a ton of footage that she got that we just absolutely have to unpack and talk about. But before we do, this video is sponsored. Yes, was this one of the first sponsors for an in-studio segment? Anyways, this video is sponsored by my good friends over at Undertech. We got them back this year, boys. Let's go. Fantastic sponsor. Very excited about that. More on them in a bit. Let's jump into the video.
What do you guys think is the biggest issue facing the United States today? Just off the top of your head, what do you think is one of the biggest things?
Honestly, I think mental health is a big one. Mental health in relation to institutionalized issues, or
Yes.
is that the right word?
Is that the right word? I've been fed this other thing that we're talking about. I'm actually not sure what she's getting at there. Mental health, absolutely. There's no generation with more mental health issues than Generation Z. I'm horrified to see what the results are on Generation Alpha. But not a bad start right there. Not a bad start right there. Next clip.
I think it's a lack of empathy and tolerance and not understanding people's points of views and other people's struggles.
Well, with the tolerance and inclusivity issue, talk to me a little bit more about that. Why do you think that's such a big issue? Give me some examples
Biggest issues facing the country. So that was her response.
of what's been happening.
Everyone's always discriminated based off of their race, classism, many things, and then we don't discuss it enough. And then if it is discussed, it's only slightly partly in the news, and then it goes away.
Okay, it's not discussed enough. It's all the media talks about. It's all Democrats are talking about. Everybody being discriminated against, all this. Give an example. What are you talking about? What's going on? We are living in one of the best times to ever live in American society. You could probably argue like 10 years ago was a little bit better, honestly. But what exactly are you referring to? And of course, I think a lot of people watching this would be like, well, I feel like white people and Asians are largely being discriminated against. When it comes to I guess that popular example that everyone brings up would be college acceptance rates and all that stuff. Getting penalized when you're applying to a certain college. That's not what she's talking about here. She's talking about people of color. They're being oppressed, or whatever community's being oppressed. Well, tell us how.
A lot of issues right now is environmentalism and how we're not going to be able to go back to what we had before because of pollution and not enough.
Okay, so she shifted away from the kind of oppression conversation. We're getting into environmentalism.
Is being done, but again, it's always individualized. It's always like, oh, the regular people have to be recycling, they have to be doing all this, and then we're not focusing on corporations and how they are polluting and stuff like that.
How many years do you think the world has left if we don't get climate change under control?
I think it said 7 or 6 years left.
6 years.
Something around that. I'm not positive, don't quote me on that, but I think it's around that, yeah.
Do you think it's 6 years? Do you think that's kind of extreme, or do you think that we're really on that track right
I
now?
think we're really on that track. I think
6 years and we're done.
Yeah, I don't think there's much left.
Okay. All right. If you truly believe this, if you truly believe that, you would not be wasting your time in college. You would be spending time with family. You'd be being close to family. Why would you be at a college to assuming you're there to get a degree, to maybe get a higher paying job or something like that, building your life when you have 7 years left? That was a good one. You guys, before we move on, we gotta talk about today's sponsor. So I'm really excited to welcome back one of my favorite advertisers. I'm talking about Undertech, quite possibly the most comfortable pair of men's boxers ever created. Now, these aren't normal boxers. They've been tested by special forces units in places we aren't even authorized to talk about. But that's not all. Undertech is made with modal, so think of like cotton on steroids. It's 50% more moisture wicking, naturally antimicrobial, and it's way softer. They come with a sturdy yet comfortable extra wide waistband, and the fly design is brilliantly straightforward. Undertech is durable, ultralight, fade resistant, and shrink resistant. And here's the best part, you guys. They're almost 30% less than the competition. I don't promote anything that I don't believe in, and I really try to make sure that I'm promoting good products. I use this product. I'm wearing them literally right now. I love this product. Go pick up a drawer full today. Undertac.com. That's undertac.com. 20% off site-wide with the offer code Klug20. Satisfaction guaranteed or your money back. By the way, Undertac does donate a portion of its profits to veteran-run organizations. And I do also want to mention, you guys, supporting Undertac and buying their product is also supporting my channel because we can keep them as a sponsor. And it's a fantastic product. You will not regret it. Undertac.com, that's undertac.com. Offer code Klug20. I will put links down below. Let's get back into the video. A lot of times, just from obviously experience in these types of videos, you walk away from those conversations being like, one, a part of you does feel bad for these people. You feel bad for that girl. Like, oh, wow, the indoctrination got to you. It really got to you. But also you walk away like, yep, there's a golden moment in the video. And it stuff like that really does expose how, I mean, that's not a controversial take on a college campus. They'd be like, oh yeah, it's bad. We have 6, 7 years left, 10 years left, 15 years left, whatever it may be. It's a widely accepted viewpoint on a college campus. And I'm assuming that she probably got that viewpoint from being at her college indoctrination camp. Should we get Savannah's take on this? I'm gonna call her right now. All right, it's calling.
Hello, Jamesy.
Hey, I'm recording right now, but I'm not live, and I wanted to get a phone call to you in my video because I'm reacting to one of your videos.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
Gen Z hot takes on modern day problems. First of all, amazing job on this. I wanted to ask you, there's the girl she doesn't have a take on like potential World War III or anything like that, but she does have a take on climate change, and we have 6 years left. Would you have asked her, like, why are you in school if you have 6 years left?
No, because I don't genuinely think she believes that we have 6 years left, and I did double down and try to ask her, like, okay, but you really think it's 6 years? And she did agree that, yes, she does think that, but I mean, I don't know, maybe she thinks that enough Just Stop Oil protesters will block traffic, and then the earth won't end in 6 years. How, the mind of a climate activist works, to be quite honest with you, because I can't live in constant fear like that.
I think we've lost kind of a lot of community or sense of community. I think social media is an issue, kind of. And it's, I don't know, I feel like I can't really speak on the biggest issue in America because there are a lot of really big issues. I don't think social media can be said to be the biggest issue.
Amazing. You can tell she's a little bit nervous, but she doesn't need to be because she's spitting absolute truth right there. I mean, it looks like Savannah found a very reasonable student. Absolutely. Social media, lack of sense of community, those are two massive ones. A lot of what we're seeing today, a lot of the issues today in our society, in American society, and now actually around the world, could be solved by a strong community. A strong community can act as a social safety net. There's all sorts of benefits to a strong, tight-knit community. And then also the social media aspect. We have all these people, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. I seriously encourage you to follow some. If you're a Republican, follow some Democrats that you can find out there that you'd be like, oh, okay, this person seems somewhat reasonable from their perspective. Or if you're a Democrat, follow Republicans just to get exposed to different ideologies. Social media has made it so you're just in this massive echo chamber, this bubble, and that bubble is not good for challenging your beliefs. If your belief is so strong, you should feel comfortable with knowing that somebody else has a viewpoint and that you would disagree and understand why you disagree with that viewpoint. So she is totally spot on. Totally spot on with that one. Next person.
It seems very polarized and everything seems politicized. And then there's the whole cancel culture thing. So it's hard to be able to learn from this fast-paced, quote-unquote, wokeness that Gen Z is trying to, add into society, I guess.
You know what? So cancel culture.
Really quick, I don't know if you guys caught that, but this girl right here is kind of listening to looking surprised. I'll zoom in on it. Looking surprised when she's talking right there, saying, "Wow." She probably disagrees. That's why she probably responded that way. Or she could have just been like, "Oh, I'm impressed you said that out loud." Because that is pretty brave to say stuff like that on a college campus, where you'll easily be shouted down for expressing that viewpoint.
There has been an issue that has come up a lot from Gen Z. I've noticed this lately because I go to college campuses all over the nation. Are you guys concerned with where cancel culture is right now? Do you think it's an issue?
I mean, I think it can be kind of an issue because I think everyone can be very quick to cancel before they know all of the facts and then can kind of revoke it. But then I think it also can be a good thing in that we're not just like letting everything slide.
They were so close to being onto something. They were so close to being onto something. Absolutely. But I think it can work if we agree with it.
So, I don't know.
Give me an example of when cancel culture has been a good thing.
Just like calling people out if they say something that's racist or like a microaggression or something.
I'm a little bit.
I honestly thought that they had a chance there. Did she not start off amazing? She started off so good. You started off so good. You had so much promise. And then you drop racist and microaggression. First of all, microaggression, not even a real thing. Racist, highly doubt you're properly using that term with what you're discussing there. Highly doubt it. I would say it almost seems like nowadays 99% of people saying something is racist, it's not even something racist at all. Certainly for the left on college campuses. We already know this.
I don't mean to cut you off. What is a microaggression?
Just like little, usually racist comments on like, they happen like every day. Like usually they go unnoticed. Like, I don't know, a go-to for me is like, "Oh, you're smart because you're Asian." Like, you're not smart because you're Asian, you're smart because you're smart, and your race has nothing to do with how intelligent you are.
When you hear people tell you, like, "Oh, you're smart because you're Asian," how does that make you feel?
When I was younger,
So I know in her head she's kind of like asking that question, be like, "This is a little silly." How does that make you feel when people say that you're smart? Honestly, like, how does that make you feel? It's a dumb thing to say to somebody, you know, "Oh, you're smart because you're Asian." Are people really serious when they're saying that? If they are, there's worse things to say to somebody. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Are people usually joking when they say that in a way? It's I know it's like that. It's funny because it's true kind of thing. But is that really the most offensive thing to say to somebody? If you're Asian, let me know if you hear that, and if you're offended by it, down in the comments. I would love to hear from you.
well, I'm half Japanese, half white. So when I was younger, I didn't feel Japanese, even though I look more Japanese. So people would tell me that, and I'm like, "Joke's on you, I'm white." But then it wasn't until later that I realized I was thinking that way because of the way I was being taught in school was like, white is good. Like, Asian American history doesn't exist. And I didn't know that until I got here. Like,
she didn't know that until she got to her indoctrination camp. That's literally what these people will confess to this. "Oh, I didn't know about that until I got indoctrinated." Who is saying that? I mean, you're learning about like American history and all of that. What school show me the school. Show me the school that is teaching white is good, Asian American history doesn't exist. I think these people largely, because maybe they didn't learn about some like specific advanced story in 5th grade that you would only learn later on. It's not a part of like basic history classes. They hear about something when they get into college. Some leftist says, "Oh, well, you didn't learn about that because the system's built and rigged against you." And they say, "Oh, okay." You know, even college kids are incredibly impressionable. So you tell them something, a lot of these people just buy it. And that comes on, that's the faculty's job. That is the teacher's job on a college campus to not have that sort of environment on campus. They're there to learn, not get indoctrinated. Obviously, that's not what we're seeing nowadays, unfortunately.
Ask you too, because we have been talking a lot, specifically on college campuses, about the concept of white privilege. I mean, is that something that's talked about on campus? What do you know about that? I mean, how do you feel about that concept in the modern day?
I mean, obviously it is talked about, or I don't know, white privilege. I mean, I do believe it exists. I've experienced it as being super white, but
How so? Give me some examples. What are you experiencing?
okay.
I'm so glad that in Savannah's videos, she doesn't just let people get away with stuff. She makes sure to ask them for specific examples, and she does it in such a way that these people really don't suspect anything. I know I've mentioned this in a last video that we were talking about her, but there is some sort of benefit to Sav just being Sav, so undercover. If I go to a campus or just walking around, people are incredibly, they'll be on guard. I tend to try to be very kind to them, friendly, because we want to have a conversation. You want to open up a conversation. You don't want people to have their walls up. People will be incredibly suspect of talking to me. Even though I'll be respectful the whole time, of course. Savannah, people do not have their guard up at all. You can see it in the videos. You know, they're not even like questioning why she's talking about this. And it could be because of how she words her questions. They're very smooth and kind of delicate the way she puts them. But also, it's Savannah Hernandez. She's like a ninja.
I guess this wasn't on a college campus, but the most white privilege thing I've ever experienced is I was going to a play in San Francisco, and there was a black couple in front of me that like they're getting their bags checked, you know, normal, like whatever, and like the security guard checked their bags. Me and my mom walked up and he was like, "Oh no, you guys are fine, you guys don't need your bags checked," something like that. That I was like, oh, okay, weird. Yeah.
So you think it was a discrimination type thing? Like,
Yeah, or I don't know, or like,
See, this is where a lot of these questions go. And we just had this big conversation about systemic racism. I had a part 1, part 2. If you guys missed those, definitely go check them out. But this is where a lot of these examples go. Like, hey, what was your white privilege? Oh, well, somebody got their bags checked, and I don't have any context behind the situation at all, and I didn't. First of all, there could be a million reasons for this. They could have asked them if they had anything or whatever. They could have seen something, or certain venues check certain bags and not others. I've seen that countless times. It would be like certain size bags or whatever. I mean, I'm not a bag checking professional, but there's all sorts of reasons for it. There's all sorts of reasons for it. And if you don't have evidence towards just blatant racism, prejudice, or whatever it may be, you know, if you don't have evidence of that, why jump to that as your first conclusion? That's the first thing you go to right there. When it could be a million things, that's the first thing you go to. That alone is not a healthy outlook on life. It always blows my mind when people just jump to racism. And I think a lot of times that's actually what they've been taught. They've been taught that by the media. They've been taught that by their Democrat politicians or whatever it is. People hammer down on this all the time. Now you're on the lookout for it. As long as your brain thinks that way, now you're on the lookout for that. You get a speeding ticket and somebody did it over there. It's not just life being unfair sometimes. No. Racism. So Savannah wraps up the video here with bringing up some actual important issues that are a big deal. And this is what these students had to say.
news lately, and I've noticed that like the potential World War III or nuclear war with Russia has been a big issue. Do you know anything about that? What are your thoughts?
I'm not well versed in that, so I don't have much thoughts, no. But to be totally honest with you, I don't feel like I
But she can tell you that the world's going to end in 6 years.
have the education on it to be able to really speak to it.
I think I've heard a lot of stuff on things like TikTok and social media, so a lot of times I don't necessarily know if I'm getting accurate information or not. I wish that there was a lot more accurate information being given out, because I think a lot of the times you get, I don't know, I think they try to minimize the extent to which the problems that are going on, if that makes sense.
Honestly, she's being honest right there. She's being totally honest right there. And I think a lot of people, that's not just students, that's not just Gen Z, that's a lot of people feel that way. I just don't feel like I'm getting good information on TikTok, Instagram, whatever it may be. A lot of people are striving for that. I've had people reach out to me, James, how do you fact check stuff? How do you look stuff up? Because every single article, you search one thing and it's just CNN, New York Times, all this stuff. You're getting somebody's point of view on it and not just the facts. You guys, let me know what you thought about this video down in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought about my response to it down in the comment section below. If you guys enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe for more videos and hit that bell notification button so you're notified next time I post. And I will catch you guys in the next video.
Yeah, it's just absolutely hilarious to me because the same people who are saying the Earth is going to die in 6 years and we're going to implode, they have no idea about how quote-unquote climate change actually works. They weren't alive, during the various periods of time in which the media scared us into thinking that we were going to go through a global ice age.
Right.
It was global warming, and then it was climate change.
Right. This is like their first it's the end of the world that they're experiencing. On their second or third, some of them will start to wake up and say, you know what? Okay, this is getting a little bit silly.
Yeah, my favorite thing to ask these types of kids as well is like, okay, let's take a peek at China and India. Why do you think that we never try to bring these countries into like the Paris Climate Accord, or we never condemn these countries who do have the highest rates of pollution? And of course, it's like that's something that's never discussed.